The Boy is directed by William Brent Bell and stars Lauren Cohen as Greta, an American nanny who is escaping life in the US and takes a job with a British family in the UK, but she is somewhat surprised, to say the least, to find out that her job is in fact to take care of a life-size porcelain doll that this family treats as their son. However, as time goes by, she starts to believe herself that the doll may in fact be alive. Now, honestly, this is fairly standard modern horror, I would say. There's not that much here that hasn't been seen before. It's competent, but in no way is it sort of outstanding or exceptional, I wouldn't say. Except for one thing, and this is a very personal thing, and I suppose the problem, for want of a better term, for me, is the fact that porcelain dolls really creep me out badly. It's been the case ever since I was a kid. It just is. I am really freaked out by porcelain dolls. And so for me, this film did a really good bloody job, because it wasn't hard in my circumstances, but every single time that bloody doll was on screen, I was seriously on edge. And that is one thing the film does actually do well. It creates a good amount of tension, a good amount of mystique around the doll and around the potential for the doll to be, for there to be something otherworldly about that doll. For me anyway, that really sodding worked. However, after a certain event that happens in the film, all of that tension, even for me, all of that tension is lost, all of it. And I was just left going, and that was disappointing. That was really disappointing, because I was invested in the film before that. The fact is, if you, like me, and I know there are a few people out there, if you're like me and you are creeped out by porcelain dolls, then this film will get you. This film will creep you out, and it will get you on edge, because they do a good job with the doll. If, however, you aren't creeped out by toys designed for 10-year-old Victorians, then honestly, there isn't that much to this film. There isn't that much that you will find scary in this film. And considering the fact that this is a bloody horror film, that I can't really recommend it in that circumstance. In a circumstance that this film doesn't exploit one of your serious, freaky out parts of your personality, the fact that you really don't like dolls. There are a lot of people who do have the same feeling I do when presented with this sort of thing, but I certainly know it's not the majority. And so I think the majority will find this film relatively dull, relatively staid, because there isn't that much beyond that. Now, in terms, I will go into further details in the spoiler section of this review. However, if you do not wish to know further details about the film or further thoughts from me about the film, then until next time, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Otherwise, I'll see you in the spoiler section. Welcome to the spoiler section. Now, for this film, the main thing, pretty much the only thing I want to talk about, is the twist. But in essence, there are actually, I suppose, technically two twists in the film, though the first one is pretty minor, and honestly, if you don't see it coming, I'm slightly worried, because as soon as the parents say, oh, we're going on holiday, they're not coming back. That's so obvious that they're not coming back. You know, anyone could see that coming. The one thing I did find slightly stupid was their death scene was ridiculous. I mean, walking out into the sea all gracefully, having put a stone that big in your pocket to drown. I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. You are not going to drown yourself. You can float. You just can. That scene was, it ended up being funny. It really wasn't supposed to be, but it ended up being funny because it was so bloody ridiculous. Two OAPs putting stones that big in their pockets and walking out to sea. really, that's the best you could do? I mean, for fuck's sake, just have them walk in front of a train. That would have been better, because that would have killed them. But that death scene was ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. But if you didn't see the fact they weren't coming back, they weren't coming back. Let's be honest here. The major twist, obviously, is the fact that when the doll is destroyed by, I think his name is Cole, is it? Greta's abusive ex-boyfriend. When the doll is destroyed, it is revealed that it was just a doll. And in fact, Brahms is a Neanderthal 28-year-old man-child who has been living in the walls of the house the entire time because he's a fucking psychopath. This twist really disappointed me, mainly because it was, I suppose, the most realistic way they could take the plot. But I'm not watching horror films for realism and for realisticness generally. I'm watching them to be scared. And what would have scared me would have been to have the doll be alive, or to have it be a demon, or Brahms' spirit, or something more interesting. I'll tell you right now, if they had had that doll genuinely come to life, I'd have shat myself, pretty much. I'd have fucking bricked myself in the cinema, because I am freaked out by porcelain dolls, and every single time that doll had moved slightly in this film, it freaked me out. I freely admit it, because it affects me. That sort of thing does affect me, because I don't like them. So if they had gone down, they picked the most boring thing they could have done. Yes, technically the most realistic, but by far the most boring. They could have done anything. Demon, Brahms' spirit manifests itself, or the doll is real. Any of them would have been so much better than what they picked. The fact that when all the banging and rumbling is happening, you're thinking, what's going to happen, what is going to be? And it ends up being a neck-bearded Neanderthal man-child with a, albeit quite scary, quite freaky mask on, the whole porcelain mask. That was quite good. But Brahms himself was crap. He is a crap Jason Voorhees, is what Brahms is. Quite literally, really. I mean, to the fact that he has, it would appear, super strength. I mean, he throws Greta to the top of the wall. He throws Greta, having been stabbed. And then, without any medical attention whatsoever, he survives at least 2 stab wounds and pieces the doll back together. They have literally made a shit Jason Voorhees. We have Jason Voorhees. He has his own films. Don't make another shitty Jason Voorhees. It doesn't work. Once the reveal was made, the doll was destroyed, and Brahms revealed himself, all tension was lost in this film. I literally went from being like this to being, is that it? Is that seriously what you've gone with? Christ almighty. I was so disappointed in it. What had been a film that had at least got me, because I am freaked out by dolls, with a film that had got me really quite edgy, everything was lost. And I was just like, I don't care. I really, genuinely don't care, because you have just taken all tension and everything out of the film. That's what really disappointed me about this film. People who aren't freaked out by porcelain dolls, there's really not a lot to this film, because you're not freaked out by it anyway, and then it turns out it was nothing in the first place. So what was the point of that, really? It was, yes, the most realistic twist they could do, but by a mile. It was the most boring, and it really ended the film on a sour note, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, thank you for watching, and until next time, I'll talk to you soon.